Carter Glasscock and I are currently in the most cursed part of Griffith Park in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The abandoned zoo.
That's right. You can
Literally. We wanted something spooky for Halloween, and I was thinking, well, an abandoned zoo.
Yeah.
Pretty spooky.
You can really feel the trace elements of monkeys flinging poop at each other from the 30s.
That's what all of these cages used to have. I actually have a little bit of info. So they built the Griffith Park Zoo on top of an old ostrich farm. Back in the turn of the century, ostrich feathers were very popular on women's hats. And so they had imported ostriches from Africa to be here to raise them to harvest their feathers.
Wow.
And then when that business dried up, they built this here zoo.
I mean, ostrich feather hats, you're saying that they didn't stylistically last for longer than the Roaring 20s?
Not only that, they almost killed entire bird populations in the Everglades.
Wow.
Because you would get the black feathers from the ostriches and then the big white feathers from all of the exotic birds in the Everglades, and it literally pushed birds to the edge of extinction. Like when you see those flapper girls from the 30s, when they just have the normal hats made of cloth.
Sure.
The Great Depression probably saved a number of species of birds.
It's a good thing that we've learned our lesson from that, and there's not stuff like leopard skin anymore. Leopards are there's so many of them anyway. They're not endangered. Turn them into a handbag. I'd say kill more ostriches.
Absolutely.
And eat them. They have good meat, good succulent, greasy meat.
I have always been curious to check out the ostrich egg situation. Maybe.
Yeah.
I know people eat those. It's just like a gigantic fucking egg.
You make a big ass omelet.
Yeah, exactly. One egg omelet. At first, the zoo featured pens and not cages. So this whole area, before they built the cages over here, they had just pens. So it was like a giant petting zoo. There was a polar bear named Ivan the Terrible that ate 2 other polar bears. So they brought in 3, and then they ended up with 1.
Ivan the extremely naughty.
Bad Ivan.
No fish for you, Ivan.
And then this is my absolute favorite. There was an 88-year-old camel named Old Topsy that supposedly served in the Civil War.
Served. He got the clap from some hookers over
in Shiloh.
In Shiloh. He did his tour. He did it. He's not not afraid to go back either.
No, sir.
You can take the camel out of war, but you can't take the war out of the camel,
And I was telling Carter, people who are listening, the old LA Zoo is also the location of the final scene of Anchorman.
Yeah. It's as you see it now, it's like, that's where Luke Wilson got his arms ripped off.
I think it's supposed to be the San Diego Zoo, but they actually filmed it here.
The movies, they lie. I have half a mind to think that most of that movie was shot in L.A.
I think, except for maybe the scene on the bridge, where he kicks the dog off the bridge.
In the whale's vagina part.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever heard of Wartburg, Tennessee?
Oh, man, that seems like something that would be on a sign that you pass, and you're like, that's a weird name, and then you think that every single time you drive up 65.
And it's spelled wart as in, like, a wart on your finger, like W-A-R-T, Berg, Tennessee.
I have never been, but it sounds kind of familiar.
Junior Willie McCann had been missing since September of 2012, and he, at the time, was 79 years old. According to the missing persons report, which was filed by his brother, McCann walked out of his house and never came back. According to his brother in the report, it was nothing uncommon for McCann to walk off from the house, but after 4 days, he reported him missing, Sheriff Wayne Potter said. In March 2019, the sheriff got an anonymous call that the person who currently lived in McCann's old house in the Gobi area had a
Gobi?
G-O-B-E-Y. So this is, I guess Wartburg is where they filed the report from, but I guess it's technically in Gobi, Tennessee.
Like Go B, like Go See B movie starring Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So he currently lived in McCann's old house in the Gobi area and had a human skull wearing sunglasses sitting on the mantle of the fireplace.
Thus proving the theory that if you put sunglasses on anything, it will listen to your problems from work.
I just like the anonymous call. Like, you couldn't have convinced that man to just call himself and be like, look, I found the skull. Because that's what happened. Is supposedly this guy was hanging out on his porch and his dog walked up with a skull in his mouth. And instead of being like, holy shit, and calling the cops, he was like, dude, I know where that's going.
What if
I got a blank spot on my mantle, baby? I'm putting a skull and I'm making it Weekend at Bernie's. Fuck y'all.
I think that guy killed that guy, and then when the cops came looking, he put those sunglasses on the skull, and he was like, "No, I mean, well, it can't be that one. That one's wearing sunglasses.
They'll never suspect a thing."
Yeah, a little fake mustache, you know.
Yeah, Junior McCann never wore sunglasses. Everyone knows that.
No, I made that.
Friday, positive forensic tests identified the skull as belonging to McCann. Potter said that he was glad that he was able to give the family closure and that the missing persons case is closed, but they won't know what happened to him until the other remains are found. So they're not assuming that this guy killed him. Like, literally, I think they interviewed him like, this man is so stupid that there's no way he killed him. He is totally the kind of guy who his dog walks up with a skull and he goes, hell yeah.
I mean, that sounds very much like he seems so quiet. I mean, we've all seen Mindhunter. We know how this works.
Ooh, yeah.
Doesn't matter how hot or how stupid you are. You could still be a serial killer.
That's true. I want them... I don't know if they're bringing that show back or not.
I think they are. I just got some, like, television app that, like, because I've, been twiddling my thumbs for the entire year. And I think they said that one's in production.
Okay. Last I'd heard is they sent everybody home, but that was, like... during COVID. So.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's current. I think it's slated to be in production. Okay. But I think it got the green light. They didn't get the glow treatment, unfortunately.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that show. It was good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Where have you been at?
Shit, man. I, in defiance of God's will, I flew back to the South to see my friends and do a show. Well, I mostly hung out with my brother in Birmingham at his house, which was nice. I was quickly reminded that I drink like I'm in California because I got drunker than I've been in quite some time. I went back. I gained at least 30 pounds or something. I did a show. I did a drive-in show. That was very fun.
Yeah.
I kind of just saw everybody and
first of all, what was the drive-in show like? Did they have the audience mic'd up?
No, they had everyone they were just in their cars and the idea was that you honk to laugh. So it basically just feels like you're doing stand-up at an intersection. And it feels like you're like about to get run over.
It feels like you're like a problem. Like you're.
Well, there's this like huge, like it would if you were like level with it. Like they had this huge stage. It was at this like hot dog place, and it was like had this huge stage, and it would like you could look out over the cars, and like they were like, I mean, you could see people's faces in there, and people were kind of like, you could hear laughter coming from cracked windows and stuff. But like, I mean, it felt like you were like in Mad Max Fury Road, and you were about to send off a legion of cars to go kill the outlier or something.
Yeah.
Working the room, as it were, was so much different. First of all, you don't get freaked out by the lack of laughs because you're like, oh, they're in their cars.
Were people real quick? Were people doing like, give it up for yourselves, and then
pretty much, yeah. Like, you do, like, the little Beatty stuff where you're like, I'm from the South. Anyone here from the South? Yeah. Someone came in on a boat. It was a foghorn. But, like, no, I mean, it was like, I think people were just happy to be out, too. Like, everyone's been, like, the man in the iron mask. So everyone was was given. And I was very happy to do stand-up. And it was very, like, if there was like silences, it's because everyone's in a fucking car. Yeah. And like, so you get kind of like out of your head immediately and you're like, this is ridiculous. And I was just yelling at people like walking their dog on the side of the street. Like I was talking about like my urethra and shit. And I was like, this guy knows what I'm talking about. And he was like, and he's like walking his dog. And it honestly worked better too. My friend Seth Pomeroy friend of the show, Seth Pomeroy put on the show. Thank God he did that. It was very nice. But
the Instagram video that I saw real quick was kind of funny because there's this massive stage,
right,
But then in the middle of the stage was what looked like one of those easy up tents they put in front of a Boost Mobile.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah,
you were
yeah.
just kind of standing under it, and it was just visually it was very funny.
Yeah, that's where we all got like COVID. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I think they like had like a supply wipes and stuff. But it was fun, and it was at a hot dog place. Apparently, they've been doing concerts there, like music shows, and then they just moved to that. But it was really nice, and it was a nice reminder that I could still do my well-worn 15 minutes again.
Hell yeah!
And it was at a hot dog place, so I got some free hot dogs, and
nice.
Yeah, it was a lot more normal than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was going to be like. What does the world come to?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, like we're fooling ourselves. But it was a much more positive experience for me, I think. But it was where I bummed that first cigarette. Now I'm smoking again.
Man. And did you make it over to Kid Rock's Big Ass Honky Tonk?
Oh no! But I saw the signs from the road.
Hell yeah, dude!
Yeah, he's that's like the super spreader event number 1 is the Badass Honky Tonk. But yeah, no, I didn't go to Broadway. Broadway 2 is like, I think they should keep Broadway having COVID because it's where you filter off it's like the Hollywood Boulevard. It's like it's where you dump the tourists off.
Times Square
yeah,
place, yeah.
You dump the tourists off there, and then they kind of leave everyone else who lives there alone.
Yeah.
And
that's a good deal.
It's a fair deal. Like everyone's like, Robert's Western World, though. It's like, I'm not fucking braving...
Oh yeah. That's
all those idiots to get a bologna sandwich. Like, I don't care how authentic it is.
I do like that place, but not now.
It's neat. Yeah, I mean, they'll have like some guy who played banjo with George Jones or something who is literally being propped up with popsicle sticks, and he's just like, try that recession special.
They got that. They got the bass player, the Brazil Billy.
Brazil Billy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is cool. I don't know. I don't mean to talk shit on it. So, I mean, I have a friend or two that works there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Broadway. Didn't go to Broadway. Just kind of hung out at the old stomping grounds in Nashville, really.
Yeah.
Did the Outback socially distanced hangs and stuff. I did stay in a hotel, which was kind of nice.
Nice.
You just there's only so many times you can whack off in every single room. All 2 rooms.
Wait, you had a 2-room hotel?
The bathroom kind of counts.
Oh, okay, sure.
But it was it was weird, but it was nice. Yeah. And I ate everything like I was like, I'm supporting local businesses.
That's what I was going to ask. What was the good eats?
Man, there's this place. I think my favorite thing I ate when I was back in Nashville was is Grill Shack. It was what was it called? It's like a burger place, but it's called it's something Grill Shack, but it was the best fucking burger. I ate Hattie B's, which was good, and all that shit, and like Dreamland Barbecue in Birmingham, which was good.
Yes.
It was good.
For those that don't know, Dreamland Barbecue, if I'm not mistaken, only has one item on the menu.
Barbecue.
It's ribs, barbecued ribs.
Yeah, the original does. The other ones have like sandwiches and shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. The one in Tuscaloosa, which is off of the hilariously named Old Jug Factory Road.
Yeah.
I've never forgotten that because I remember punching in the first time I ever went to Dreamland, putting in typing it into Garmin.
That's what Dolly Parton's drunk second husband used to call her. Fuck that guy though, seriously.
But yeah, I remember popping it into the Garmin back in 2006 or whatever it was, and it popped up and it was like Old Jug Factory Road, and I was like, that's such a funny thing. That's what everybody assumes all of the roads in Alabama are named.
It's very silly, yeah. Like, I mean, me and my brother got some Dreamland, and man, I chipped my tooth.
Oh, jeez. That's what you were at the dentist for?
Yeah, I have a shitty peg tooth now up front. Check it out.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, so, they're going to, after the dentist, I got there, and he was... He was eating ribs, and he was like licking each one of his fingers, and then he put his fingers in my mouth, and he did this thing where he was like, I'm going to give you an exam, and he put the camera on the end of his tongue. And he was like, yeah, you need a peg tooth. And he was like, you old pirate, you. And I was like, all right, how much is it going to cost? It's like, the first one's on the house. Baby gets a taste. And then I left that bridge. No, he said, he's like, I got to get a cap and everything and get it removed. I'm fucking terrified of like, I was telling Carly, I was like, I have to get surgery. And she's like, well, it's a procedure.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I'm acting like I have to get like, a lung removed or something.
Right. Are you gonna have to like go under like?
No, I think it's like local anesthetic.
Man,
I know. I'd prefer going under because like,
yeah, of course.
Because like they're gonna like do the thing where they put a shot in your gum and shit.
Oh yeah. It's gonna suck,
and it's just gonna be like really uncomfortable.
When I got my wisdom teeth taken out on this sheet I was filling out, I went with my mom because she had to drive me afterwards, and I was filling out the sheet.
Yeah.
And just to be funny, they were like. One of the little lines, it was like, first name, last name, and then the line just said nickname. Mm-hmm. And so just to be funny, I wrote Ace.
Okay, the cool guy? Can I get the cool guy back here?
And my mom was very worried. She was like, you're going to be under the anesthesia and they're going to be calling you back, and you're going to go to the light instead of back to earth. They're going to call you Ace, and that's how you're going to die.
Yeah, it's like a Top Gun-y kind of thing. It's like Ace soared into the heavens. Top Gun Maverick. That was another 2020 casualty.
Oh Christ, God! There's so many of those.
So many of those.
What is
so many underwhelming sequels?
Yeah. Like, well, and also the question will never be answered. What is in the Heights?
I mean,
what was in the Heights?
I wonder if there are Easter eggs alluding to Hamilton. I don't know.
There has to be.
There has to be.
It'll be like, Lin-Manuel Miranda will be out of focus in the background wearing a powdered wig like Alfred Hitchcock.
I still haven't seen Hamilton, but like Carly's like, we got to see it. It's like, we're not going to watch it on Disney Plus. We got to see it live. Like, what decade?
Yeah.
Like, this is probably the best we're going to get.
Being performed for, as you referenced, Immortan Joe, surrounded by cars. Dance, Lynn, dance.
Oh, I'll tell you. No, I mean, like, it was. Let me ask you this, because I have questions too. So have they begun doing like the outdoor shows in LA in earnest now?
I don't think so.
Not really.
Not really. There's a couple in Orange County and there's a couple in Ventura County, but LA has been pretty aggressively like shutting down any of that type of stuff.
Wow. So no indoor dining, any of that shit.
No, there's Daniel, our dearly departed Daniel Magden, told tale of a open mic in Echo Park. On Friday nights.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that's the last I've heard about but I haven't really done any research because I'm like, I don't know, it's fine.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's kind of weirdly opening up not in earnest, but in certain places.
Well, there are still people posting almost every day on that LA comedy Facebook where they're just like, hey, I'm going to be in LA in a couple weeks. Is there any shows happening? And just like, no, man.
No.
No. The shows that are happening here are like at the Rose Bowl. And it's like Chelsea Handler. That's who's allowed to do shows in LA.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too. It's like this is like the everyone's like shameless self promotion is really biting them in the ass unless they are like can draw a huge crowd.
Yeah,
because everyone's like shameless self promotion for their like tiny little show is just not going to work. It's going to get shut down.
Yeah, and then also it's just going to make other people mad at you. You're
going to go back to the era of like gin joints and shit, wherever it's going to be like text threads for shows and shit like.
Yeah, well that's what a lot of those types of shows have been doing because I think there are shows happening. But every one of them is like private message this person for the location.
That makes
shit
sense.
Like that.
That makes sense.
Because I've seen a couple of friends of mine who will remain nameless who have posted on Instagram like doing a secret show tonight. Hit up so and so for the details. So they won't even be like hit me up for the details. They'll be like, I'm just going to show up and do my jokes.
Right, yeah.
I don't want any part of this shit. Thank you for inviting me, but...
I don't want to... I'm not an organizer, just a participant.
Yeah. Because then there's a paper trail of you doing this. So, yeah.
Oh, man.
I think I've said on this program that I'm, as far as like the tourism industry goes... It's like, when is that coming back? And I'm like, well, probably when Disneyland comes back,
Yeah.
And last week, Gavin Newsom was like, no, fuck you. Disneyland cannot reopen. And now there are crazy people protesting outside of Disneyland that are like, open up the Magic Castle.
This is what happens when you put Disneyland. All Disneylands, except for the one in France, I guess, are just surrounded by conservative shitheads. So
yeah. And I don't even know the politics of the one in France. So I can't actually speak to that. Maybe it is.
Yeah. Is there one in China?
There's one in Shanghai. There's one in Hong Kong, maybe, and then I think Japan and France and Florida and here.
I'm such an idiot. I was like, it's like I'll get there at like 5:30. It is totally dark outside.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I am dumb.
It's all good. We out here, man.
No, this is cool. It did talk about social distancing. Everyone left.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just us and maybe
us and the moon and
maybe a cougar
and this bottle of wine and a cougar and just a bunch of secrets.
Dude, I literally like a minute ago saw a flock of hummingbirds.
Really?
Like they flew into that tree. Like they just kind of came over, and I was like, I thought they were bats at first, but they're fucking hummingbirds.
I feel like something from like The Happening. Some more 2020 ghoulishness. Oh man. Well, yeah. I guess I figured the tourism industry is just going to be dead for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing about it though. Like, it's not like it really has to play that much catch up when it opens.
No.
You can immediately hit the ground running on that kind of shit.
Absolutely. Yeah, except now you're going to have a bunch of, if you take people to like Fairfax or whatever, you're going to have like weird conservative people just being like, oh, I saw this on the news.
Is that the Starbucks?
Is that where the rats were?
Is that where the rats? The rats? Yeah. I did notice that in the South. People call it the rats.
The rats.
Not the people, nice, cool people, but
right.
The conservative shitheads call it riot. They called them the rats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, is this where that poor Starbucks was mangled?
Wait, was this the Jamba Juice?
Is this the Jamba Juice? Oh my God, it makes me want to cry. It's so sad.
When they pulled all of the merchandise out of Drake's October's very own store.
Drake.
I was so sad.
Drake, I'll tell you, Drake, the free ride is over. How long have we been trying to give Drake a million chances to be good?
I don't even know if I don't even know if OVO got robbed, but it would be funny if it did.
It would be. And it would be the laugh that 2020 needs.
Absolutely.
I think. But
I mean, you got I feel like they got, Supreme got.
Yeah, the Supreme got, and
Flight Club got.
Yeah, a couple of them got.
Uh-huh.
I was talking about it with some folks just about like being in the rats.
The rats.
And I saw some like people out there, like I saw some famous people, and I was like telling it to people, and they're like, as soon as I would say that, like, oh, where'd you meet him? And I was like, at the protests, and then they're immediately like their faces drooped. They're like, oh,
yeah. You mean Connie Chung is a liberal?
You mean to tell me that French Stewart?
Did you see French Stewart?
No, but I did see him at a store the other day. Even through the mask, I was like,
"That's French Stewart."
Is that one of the
dude?
Is that one of the villains in Home Alone 3?
He did Brandy's podcast, Lady to Lady.
Really?
Yeah, I think
he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah,
I had Carly's dog, and he like waved at the dog. I was like, oh,
that's
French
awesome.
Stewart seems nice.
You haven't missed much. It's pretty much just been
same old.
Yeah, definitely on my end. I mean, I don't know. I have a follow up for a story that we covered that you weren't here for, so I'll just read the whole thing because it's fucking ridiculous.
Do it to it.
So this is an update. Police on Tuesday identified the man accused of urinating on a fellow passenger during a Delta flight earlier this month as a pastor from Raleigh, North Carolina. So when this happened, it was so weird because, like, any shit that goes on in an airplane is a federal matter. So It was like the FBI specifically was like, we are not releasing the name. All we'll say about this guy is that he is a quote unquote well-known pastor from North Carolina.
Well-known.
And I was like, dude, first of all, like what privileged air to breathe where you can piss on a sleeping woman and they just identify you as an adult. then, it'd be one thing if a kid pissed on a sleeping woman, but an adult pisses on a sleeping woman and they just identify you as a well-known pastor. It's like, okay, details, FBI, please. So they identified him.
How many pastors do you know offhand?
That was the other thing is I was like, well, Jerry Falwell Jr. is the obvious one, but he's from Virginia.
JFJ.
Yeah, and so the other one, it was this guy, Billy Graham's grandson, Will. And yesterday, he had to come out and make a statement where he's like...
It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Well, no, he came out and he was like, it wasn't me. I can fucking prove it wasn't me, because everybody on Twitter was just like, they were like, it's got to be Billy Graham's grandson, right? Because the Graham family runs North Carolina, so that's who it's got to be. And then Curveball today, so according to a report, the passenger is named Daniel Chalmers, which I'm like,
Chalmers.
He's not well known. Fuck you. And not only is he not well known, it was incredibly hard for me to find information on this guy. And he's like a pastor. Like they're the biggest fame whores of all time. But if you do a Google search, if you type in Daniel Chalmers minus urination minus peeing, and then search for something a month ago, there ain't shit on there.
Is this his like balloon boy? Like did he pee on somebody for the cred?
Maybe so. Maybe for the redemption angle. So a police report obtained by a Winston-Salem Journal says that Daniel Chalmers was arrested at the Detroit Metro Airport after the flight landed on October 13th. According to the report, a passenger named Alicia Beverly told police that she woke up on the plane around 2:45 a.m. to find a man urinating on her. According to the report, police said Beverly alerted the flight crew, as you might expect, and the two were separated. When asked what had happened, Beverly reportedly replied, "He peed on me." I read some other article where her screams were described as blood-curdling, which is understandable. When
no one likes to be peed on.
No, especially when you're
some
asleep.
People do, but
some people do,
requires
but
consent and
I imagine. Listen, even people, if that's your thing, no judgment. But even people, if that's their thing, they don't like being surprised by it.
No,
not while they're sleeping.
No,
it's like, hey, ribs are my thing, but I would like to be awake and consciously eation them.
Before you try to shove one into my mouth,
I don't want someone slamming ribs into my fucking mouth while I'm sleeping. Get out of here. So when the man asked, "What did you do?" he reportedly said, "I peed on her. I thought I was going to the bathroom."
You were going to the bathroom.
After the plane landed in Detroit, airport police boarded the plane, and Beverly told the officers what had happened. Police said that the man initially denied her accusation, telling officers, quote, "I am a pastor. This is out of my character, and I didn't do it." So he said he did it, and then when the cops got on the plane, he was like, "I didn't." When he asked for proof of the woman's allegations, one of the officers told him that, quote, "the victim's clothing was covered in his urine and the seat as well." He also told the man that he was, quote, "the only person standing on the aircraft and was observed to be standing directly over the victim." So...
He's marking his territory is what he's doing.
The officer said in his report that he observed a small, visually apparent wet spot on the groin area of his shorts and that he smelled of alcohol and his eyes were bloodshot. The Journal reported that Chalmers is the lead pastor at Love Wins Ministry in Raleigh. He was escorted off the plane, taken into custody. While he's being taken off the plane, Chalmers told the captain that he planned to sue Delta Airlines for defamation of character for their treatment of him. Fuck you, dude. And also, I looked up videos because their Twitter's gone, their Instagram's gone, everything's fucking gone except for their Vimeo. And so I managed to find a video of this guy. This dude is Australian. Like, he has a straight-up Australian accent in all of his videos. So they
what are you talking about? I'm from North Carolina.
Right.
North Kakalaki.
They keep
Born
saying,
and raised.
"I'm a Tar Heel. You a Tar Heel?"
He's pulling a Schwarzenegger kindergarten cop.
Right,
from
right.
Chicago.
Yeah. "I'm a normal guy from America."
I'm from Oak Park, Chicago. Illinois.
So like I said, I was trying to figure out just like, all right, what's this guy's like angle, as a pastor? and the church is called Love Wins, and I'm like, oh, you've incorporated like kind of a pro LGBT slogan for your own nefarious bullshit.
Sure. That has to. I think that the lead of that has to be like keep the baby.
Yeah,
Love Wins.
I guess so. But what's weird is I could like I said, everything's been wiped, so it's like very hard to see.
Yeah.
What they used to be about. But based on their Vimeo and then their website, so this is what it describes him as. Daniel Chalmers passionately pursues the presence of Jesus and has one goal in life: to love like Jesus. And then here's the big ding, ding, ding. With a background in acting, Danny loves the creative brilliance of God. After serving for years at Church in the Sun, spelled S-O-N, but still it's weird. God sent Danny to Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry. Ooh. Which is it's Hogwarts JUCO.
So I was about to say, yeah, this is like is a Hogwarts.
There, Danny served as a lead-in to the healing rooms and developed a passion for Jesus to get his full reward.
Developed to get his reward.
Yeah, and but his
what kind of like boardroom taking it guy executive taking advantage of a secretary talk is that?
Well, no. Here's what's weird is that the his in that sentence is capitalized, so he means Jesus. So he developed a passion for Jesus to get, and I'll just replace the pronoun with the name. He developed a passion for Jesus to get Jesus's full reward.
You got to get real close. It's like Jesus is this like dying billionaire, and you got to suck his dick like a couple of times.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah, he puts your name on that paper before he gets like crucified again.
Danny wants to shout from the rooftops the goodness of his heavenly daddy. Don't call him that, please. And they've capitalized daddy.
Yeah, wow.
Stop.
This is some straight up God bondage.
Stop doing it. It's weird. Just as Jesus, the exact representation of the Father, Danny lives to embody the hearts of his perfect Father in heaven. And I thought that was kind of weird, but then his wife also is strange, and she has an 8-week e-course called A Prophetic Generation. And this is just a quote from the description. With fire in his eyes, Jesus waits for you to draw near to him so he can share his secrets with you. The way they're writing about this, I'm not making this creepy. This is creepy.
This is he sounds like L. Ron Hubbard or something. Like it definitely sounds like he's like this like fiery cult leader who wants to molest you.
Now is the time to press into his heart so you can encounter with him greater intimacy. As you encounter him, you'll experience revelations that empower you to step boldly into the prophetic life of power that he designed for you at the beginning of time.
My heaven spunk gives you power.
I think they're saying that if you take this e-course, Jesus will give you the Force.
Yeah, he will fuck the Force into you. I've seen it 100 times.
Anyway, this guy, and so his defense now is that he's saying it was the first time he'd ever taken Ambien. And that he took Ambien and had 2 drinks, and that is what made him straight up walk to a woman and
they should put a label on that stuff.
On her. I mean, granted, it's like nighttime, but the plane is well lit enough, even if you've been drinking, to know that just pissing on a sleeping woman is not the same as a toilet.
I've certainly driven home piss-ass drunk and I've told a cop who pulled me over that I had 2 drinks at the bar, and that seemed sufficient.
Yeah.
Like, they just want you to say something because it smells like a fucking brewery in your car. You're like, I had 2 drinks, sir. Which is, again, my fucking privilege I didn't get absolutely fucking murdered right then and there.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, no, apparently that's like the privileged white guy response is 2 drinks. I had the legal limit.
Absolutely. Speaking of murder, I wanted to share this with you. So I just texted these photos to you so you can get a real appreciation for this. And we'll put this on our Twitter so people can see it. Mm-hmm. East Dallas Halloween, the high holy day of spooky season, has a sort of spooky scale that runs the gamut from the casual black cat, full moon, or harmless jack-o'-lantern to the extremes of disembodied corpses and chainsaw massacre tableaus.
Whoa.
Local artist Stephen Novak finds himself comfortably at the horrifying end of this scale, as his East Dallas neighbors and the Dallas Police Department will attest.
This fucking rules.
Quote, I've always been up to hijinks like flying ghosts or 7-foot-tall snow sculptures of myself. So, if I was going to do Halloween, it was obvious that I should be hyper-real. Novak says, no lights, no fog machine, no camp. I wanted something that would really freak people out walking by in the dark.
Fucking A, dude.
So I whipped up some dummies and slung 20 gallons of fake blood all over my yard. So the photo Carter's looking at, again, we'll put this on our Twitter. This guy, the house is not decorated.
This guy really cares about Halloween.
The best part is the house is not decorated at all.
No.
There's no fucking cobwebs. There's no pumpkin on the porch.
Just a horrifying crime scene.
It's just literally, it is a guy on the roof, has, I guess, died by getting, what is that? It's a knife in his head.
It's a machete in his head, and he dropped a safe on a guy. So, okay, let me describe to you for what's going on in front of this guy's house. So on the gutters, there's a guy with a machete in his head. He's dropped a safe on a man who's lying down, and his head is splattered like a fucking grapefruit.
Everywhere.
And then down the walkway, down the driveway, there's a man with a chainsaw stuck in his back who had a wheelbarrow full of disembodied parts, human parts, and then a bag full of what appears, it just looks like a body wrapped in a garbage bag.
Yeah.
And this is. There's also a recycling bin filled with bloody skulls.
Yeah. Well, that's the updated version. So he says, Novak's home holds a horror show. In his M Street yard, one dummy lies with his head pulverized, one lies with a scale where his or her head used to be. Quote, I'm most proud of the wheelbarrow tipped over by the street full of hefty bags looking like a failed attempt to dispose of dismembered bodies in the middle of the night. A kid walked by and asked me what happened to them, and I said, they ate too many Skittles. Novak,
this guy rules.
This guy's awesome. Novak hasn't lost his neighborly spirit. He keeps his overall leave it to beaver demeanor, even with the bloodshed. Quote, it was raining a lot and washing the blood away recently, so I indefatigably watered the bodies every morning with blood.
Wow, so that's how it's pronounced indefatigably. Good to know.
You watered them with blood every morning, and joggers saying.
I'm trying to think of the next time I will use indefatigably in a sentence. So, like, I masturbated indefatigably for a week straight.
Staunchly, reliably, like an old warhorse.
A solid warhorse.
While some people embrace Halloween hijinks, Novak gives them a bear hug. Only it's a zombie bear hug with blood pouring out of its mouth. I hate this article.
Jesus.
Novak's decorations have brought the police to his house multiple times. Neighbors told me the cop cars were in front of the house a lot during the day. I was only home twice to receive them. They told me that they thought it was cool and that they were only there because they were required to reply to complaints from the sergeant.
I mean, it's I think when I was in the South, which, by the way, I think I must say I had a great time in the South.
Uh-huh.
I really did. The food was great. Everyone was great.
Yeah.
But across the street from my brother's house, these people had these COVID-themed Halloween decorations.
Oh, God.
Yeah, not the best. Like, this is in better taste than that, I think.
Wait, did they have just zombies with masks?
It was just like a skeleton wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and then holding a sign that says "Keep 6 feet under."
Wait, wearing a Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah, they had nothing to do. They were just holding these signs that were COVID gags.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that's like a Boogaloo Boys thing with the Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, I don't know if they were making a political statement. I think they were just being like, COVID's dumb.
I mean, as I've said, damn Boogaloo Boys taking away like one of the few garments of clothing that fat guys can wear.
Boogaloo Boys?
Taking the damn Hawaiian shirts away.
Oh, it's like the same thing with like white supremacists taking away Fred Perry shirts. It's like, fuck you. Yeah. You don't get a shirt. I like Fred Perry shirts and I like Hawaiian shirts. You don't get it. The fucking, the Bumbaloo Boys or whatever the fuck your name is. No, you don't get it. You don't get a uniform.
Yeah. I went to, my laptop died. That's the biggest news, I think, since you've been gone. And
it took a shit and died forever.
Yeah. It's an old one. My mom, who does estate sales, was doing an estate sale for a lady who bought this laptop and then died like a week later in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a dead woman's laptop that I'd been using for, it lasted me 11 years. I feel like that's a good long run. But I needed to get a new one because that's what I edit the podcast on.
Right.
So I needed to like turn around, like I needed one immediately so I could edit. And so I couldn't wait for it to, be mailed to me for 7 days or whatever. So I went online, and the only laptop that was in my price range that had the storage I wanted and all that stuff was in Vegas. So I did a quick, 9-hour turnaround.
Did you jaunt to Vegas?
I drove to Vegas, to the Staples in Vegas.
Wow.
Got the new laptop and then drove back. But the reason I bring it up...
How was Vegas, by the way? I got to ask.
I mean...
Is it open or like
it's fucking it's the Wild West out there, man. It's there's a lot of people with masks and shit, but all those casinos are fucking open.
Yeah, I've heard New Orleans is kind of that way too.
Yeah. But what was crazy, what made me think of it was when I drove past Caesar's Palace, because you're in Vegas, it's like I know it's touristy as shit, but sort of to the Broadway point.
But I don't fucking live here. Yeah,
I'm gonna drive down the strip. So I drove down the whole Vegas Strip, and when I drove past Caesar's Palace, they have all of the big fake marble statues of all the of Caligula and Nero and all the Roman emperors and shit. All of them had masks on. That was their little like haha thing. So.
Yeah. That's like a lot of. There's been a lot of like cute little asides to being like, let's put a mask on our mascot.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing as like when they say like, it's like our number one priority is our customers' health. It's like, no, it's not. It's making money.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not.
But I understand. I get it. But
just don't lie to me. Just say it.
Especially when everyone says, it's like, I'm here eating the cheeseburger. Like, I get it. But like, when that's everyone's phrase is like, that's our number one concern is your health. It's like, I don't think it is.
I saw random people walking in big groups. Some of them had masks, some of them didn't. And then the really worrisome thing was, I drove past, they have all those like 24-hour wedding chapels.
Right.
I saw huge wedding parties with nothing, just fucking in the tuxedos, like hanging out. And I'm like, you had a wedding in Vegas and invited people during this. It'd be one thing if you and your girlfriend were like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's go to Vegas. And you just went there with you and you just got married at one of those quickie places and that was it. That is actually kind of an acceptable thing to do at this time.
Sure.
But
eloping it had never been a better time to elope.
Yeah. But to have a full ceremony, which a lot of these people did, I'm like, why are you having... I mean, I guess it's because it's open, but it's like weird. The whole point of Vegas is to make a bad decision and get married, not to actually invite your friends and family to a fucking COVID desert.
The weddings have been like the most perplexing thing. I mean, this is as someone who recently went back home. I mean, I don't know what leg I have to stand on really, but the weddings are very perplexing because it's like, I think it's for people who literally they do not see outside of themselves whatsoever. It's like they don't see like their position in history or the time that they're in. It's just like, my whole life has culminated in my wedding. I can't wait for my wedding. My whole life has culminated in my wedding. And so like you don't really, I forgot about the bug that's going around.
Oh, it'll be okay. Let's invite all the old folks and get them in a little room and we'll breathe on each other.
The old folks don't even care. Like that's the whole thing.
That's kind of the issue. Well, I got a couple of questions from Twitter. I'll lay these down and then we'll get the hell out of here because it is straight up dark.
I mean, it is night. It is absolutely nighttime. I miscalculated.
I still see a few flashlights all around, so we just got to outrun some of these folks.
It's like it's like a couple of Stranger Things-esque kids out on a wacky adventure.
This first one is from our friend at Hobo Eddie. And this is from yesterday. We just kind of ran out of time to do all the questions for show 100. How depressing is it that you've arrived at 100? But seriously, thank you. It's provided hours of entertainment and some escape. Cheers to the next 900 episodes based on current trends.
Well, thank you, Eddie, and thank you for listening. And boy, I hope not.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the same thing as we were talking about now, like stuff that's just become normal. It's like this has just been so normalized now that like I don't know. It doesn't like
there's not much else to do comedy wise, so it's just like I'll go in a room and make jokes into a microphone.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm always someone who like hasn't prepared enough for whatever my pursuit is. I just kind of like get there when I. Hopefully, like preparation and due diligence line up. So this is going to be a chance to kind of prepare more for my life, I guess. Save some money, fucking,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that this is the 100th episode. It's weird, yeah.
This is from at Rod for Short. I posted the little video I put up to say, hey, we're doing this thing. It was a video that we took. Famously, it was I believe it was the tour where the woman, what did somebody's dog take a shit on the Trump star?
No, it was a human took a shit on the Trump star.
Oh, that's what
and then she had me take a picture next to it, and then some guy drove by and spit on her.
That's what it was. Okay,
it was awesome.
Yeah, so that it was from that day. So it was pre-quarantine, pre-COVID. So I threw that up. But anyway, I put behind it the song "Let Me Ride" from The Chronic, and Rod says, "Which one of you is Dre? Which one of you is Snoop? And why? LOL."
I'm thinking it's pretty obvious that I'm Snoop.
I was about to say I'm the producer here.
You're the producer, and I'm the one that smokes weed, and I've also dabbled in reggaeton.
Yeah. We all remember Glass Lion.
Yeah, Glass Lion. I have a cooking show with Martha Stewart, and no, I think it's pretty clear that even in their relationship, what is it like? Yeah, like Dre's the architect.
Yeah,
and Snoop's like
he's the showman.
He's the showman. He's the show. I mean, I've seen him play live. He's so fucking fun. Like,
I saw him at Bonnaroo. Actually,
dude, he's awesome. Like totally. Like that's one celebrity that I will go to bat for whatever goofy decision he makes. I'm like Snoop Dogg rules.
Oh yeah. Shout out to my friends Jim Search and Neil Charles, friends of the show. I was on their podcast again this week. It's called Swatches and Boomboxes, and I talked about Snoop because I saw Snoop Dogg at Bonnaroo immediately after I saw Erykah Badu, and on the Swatches and Boomboxes we were talking about Stankonia, and she's of course Andre's ex-wife. So
that's right.
That's how that came up. I was like, damn, I was just talking about seeing Snoop live. What was it? It's like, it was part 2 of my Stankonia discussion on Swatches and Boomboxes.
Don't they have a kid too?
They do, and I talked about that because their kid was born in 1997, which is 1 year after the Seinfeld episode, in which George Costanza insists that the best name for a child would be Seven. And everyone in this show makes fun of him for his stupid child name. And then 1 year later, Seven Sirius Benjamin is born unto Andre 3000 and Erykah Badu.
That's got to be one of the, talk about like living, like, I can't live up to my parents' legacy. Like, how do you live up to
your parents are, Andre 3000 and Erykah Badu.
Like, Jesus Christ.
And you're also, if you see a picture of that kid, you're like, Jesus. It's just like the best genes too. My God.
Yeah. Is he hot?
Two beautiful people make a hunk.
Is he hunk?
Yeah, he's like 22 or something. Fucking
Jesus.
Ridiculous. At Violet Wanderers, shout out to our friends in Indiana at the Violet Wanderers podcast. If you could have one superpower that was neat but fairly useless, what would it be? Example, you can levitate off the ground but only 6 inches, and you can't propel yourself in any direction while up in the air. So you could be David Blaine, essentially.
Right.
That's hilarious. That is a perfectly useless thing.
It's neat but useless.
I will cop out here and steal something from my friend John Bryan. You can find him on Twitter at Dirty Southworth. Follow him. He's a hilarious guy. He's one of my closest friends, but I am going to steal a thing that he said. We're probably having this exact discussion in like 2010. Or like, what would be the worst X-Man power? And he said, and I think this is hilarious, it would be the power to smell the future.
That's awesome.
Because it's like, it's not really worth anything, but it is kind of nifty.
Yeah, like what does 2047 smell like?
Well, we were thinking it'd be funny, like he just like walks into a room, he's like, oh God, someone took a shit in here in like 4 years. They shit right on the carpet. Maybe it wasn't a dog. What? It was wait, how did an ocelot get in here to even poop on the carpet? Like you would have limited amounts of information.
That's outstanding.
So that's my cop out for that one, but it is the funniest one.
Right, yeah. Shit. Mine would be the ability to only get fatter. Like at will.
But wait, you couldn't go back down. You would have to diet and exercise to go down.
Yeah, like I'd have to, but I could like snap my fingers and I would gain 300 pounds.
That would be, oh my God. Because you would be able to maybe use that once. Like,
yeah, I'd be like, but it'd be like, the world's ending. Like, what am I going to like I'd be like, why do I have to do it? It's like, you have to. Like, if this scale doesn't exceed 2 tons, then we're going to, the building's going to explode.
Maybe someone robs you and you like get them down.
Yeah.
But they're like about to wriggle out and you're like, all right, either this guy gets all my money or fuck it. And then you just blow up and then he's trapped.
And I'm like, I'm 33. I guess I could work it off. I don't know. I'm going to have so much excess skin. Fuck. Like, what's it worth it to you? It's like, But yeah, no. And it would be like, stupefying to watch someone just immediately gain 400 pounds.
Yeah, it'd be Weird Al Yankovic, the fat video.
Yeah.
You're not fat. You're not nothing.
Yeah.
What does he say? Ding dongs, man. Ding dongs.
Ding dongs, man. Ding dongs. Oh, man.
We love him. At Bucky the Third. I'm bored and without power right now due to an ice storm in Oklahoma City. What should I do? My wife went with my kid to her sister's house. I'm at home with cats. I think 60% of the city is powerless. Can of beans sounds good right now.
It's like my man's making it a very apocalyptic situation. Like, you got any books or?
I mean, I think this is literal. I think he's actually in this situation.
Got a can of beans, and
this is tough, man. Is because you're by yourself with no power. It's one thing if you've got.
Jesus.
If you've got power. Obviously, he's got cell phone signal, but like,
dude,
how long can that last?
Take a walk. I'd say go take a walk.
But dude, it's an ice storm.
Oh shit! I forgot about that part.
Yeah, it's crazy cold. You know what I mean? It's like,
what do you got at the house? I mean, again, read some books.
Yeah, you got cats there. Set up. All right, look, let's focus on the cats. Yeah, if you're not going to read, if you're not going to expand your own mind,
sure,
then let's hope you have access to cardboard.
Right.
Build some cat mazes and some,
That's right.
Confound the animals.
That's right. Dress them up in your clothes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And talk to them as if they were your coworkers.
One thing that's funny is get like a strip of tinfoil.
Yeah.
And wrap it around the middle of a cat. And they just hate it.
Do they hate it?
They will just start rolling around until it gets off. They can't stand it.
They hate it, but you know what? I kind of love it.
No, we love it. We love to watch it. We love it.
We love to torture these cats.
That was not torture. It's just funny.
You're teasing them.
Yeah, you're teasing them a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. You got access to cats. Start there, or books. I mean,
the next time, lesson learned, invest in some laser pointers.
Yeah.
Because cats fucking go goo-goo for that shit.
Oh, yes.
And you can get them to go all over your house.
I bet if he's got cats, he's got a laser pointer. That's probably...
should come with the package, yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, Jesus, at least you have a means to tweet, so,
Yeah, that's the other thing is I saw this on Twitter, so I was like, oh, I guess you got your phone, so that's something.
Is he using his last bits of power to ask us what to do?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll use the last bits of his power to download this podcast tomorrow.
Right, and subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the fact that he's there by himself, too, because my suggestion, if you're just there with someone else, there's a really fucking nerdy game that we used to play at work, which is we'd have a tennis ball, and later it turned into, I guess that was my job at Mellow Mushroom, is we had the tennis ball, and then I went to Stakeout, which was of course the steak delivery place owned by a cop, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've mentioned that on the show before. He's a former cop, and he opened a steak delivery place called Stakeout. Yeah, and it's a steak restaurant, so we had baked potatoes, and if the potatoes were too small, we wouldn't serve them. We put them off to the side. We came up with this game called Actator, which evolved from bouncing a ball off of a wall, and then it just became everybody threw it in a circle, and it's really for dorks only, but it is kind of fun. So let's say I'd get the tater, and I would say Gene Hackman was in Royal Tenenbaums with Ben Stiller, and then I'd toss it to you, and you would grab it, and you would go, Ben Stiller was in There's Something About Mary with Cameron Diaz, and then you toss it, and then you just...
Cameron Diaz was in Being John Malkovich with John Cusack.
Right. You keep it going, and that's you got to have a nerd with you to play the game, but boy, for some reason, the deck was stacked at Stakeout, because I remember me and my buddy Jack, shout out to Jack Carey.
Film aficionados.
Dude, we were all working back there, and we would just we'd be doing Actator for fucking years, and then the harder one is Directator. Where you added just another layer to it, so it was like, I'm trying to think of one.
That sounds like someone like mispronouncing dictator. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Joe Biden's going to be a directator.
Directator was, you had to say the director of the film and then link it to another actor, so you just added an extra chain, essentially.
Oh, man, that sounds fun. I would totally play that game.
So, like, if you tossed it to me, it would be like, Adam Sandler was in Uncut Gems, directed by the Safdie brothers, who directed Robert Pattinson and or directed Good Time with Robert Pattinson. Boom, and then you have to throw it. So you throw that extra layer in there.
Robert Pattinson was in The Rover, which was directed by David Michôd, which was also directed.
That's the harder version. That's that's a road trip game, but absolutely everybody in the car has to be on board because if you're not a fucking movie nerd, it's like I'm pretty sure at some point I was in a car playing with 3 out of 4 people, and the fourth person was like, "You guys have to stop."
Well, that fourth person needs to invest in some earphones.
So get some earphones or a Leonard Maltin movie guide and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, why don't you learn to be a team player there?
Come on. But again, this doesn't help this man because he's by himself. I'm telling you, this is some Edgar Allan Poe shit, dude.
That is dark.
Yeah. Read some tomes of forgotten lore.
He has a family coming back to him, I guess, at some point.
He'll be back.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I would say those cats are your family now. So dress them up in your family's clothes and just pretend like it's your family.
Oh, man. Well, we got more, but we'll save them for tomorrow. But this one, I think this is sort of aimed at you, Carter. At the Father Sparks, are y'all still tight with Ray Liotta?
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ,
He's got a cameo on a comedy record that's going to be coming out soon.
I've been in contact with Ray Liotta. I emailed through him, and I snuck onto the set of Hubie Halloween, and I got him to record a little bit for my comedy record. He was telling me about trying to quit smoking. He was like, "It's the hardest fucking thing you'll ever do." And take it from me, I actually didn't quit smoking, but Chantix is playing the bills. He said paying the bills? He said, no, playing the bills.
Playing the angles.
Chantix has a football team. They're playing the Buffalo Bills, apparently. But, no, Ray's great, and he's a huge backer of the show. And if you asked him to his face, he would say this is probably his favorite podcast.
Absolutely. Well, this has been fun. It is straight up dark.
It is the middle of the night in the woods.
It's 7:08, Griffith Park. And this is not a part of Griffith Park. I've never actually been out here at night. This is not a part of Griffith Park that has any lights at all.
No, we are literally being lit up by the moon right now.
The moon and then random flashlights around an abandoned zoo.
Again, there's like a Super 8 Stranger Things-esque wacky adventure going on to the right of us.
We'll have more of those questions tomorrow because we didn't get to everything, but goddamn it, I don't want to get eaten by a puma. And speaking of eating, I'm going to get a goddamn burrito.
That sounds good.
So, Carter, tell people where they can find you online.
Carter_Glasscock at Twitter and Instagram, and you can go to my website, carterglasscock.com.
Hell yeah. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rivers Langley, and of course, the best way to support this show, head on over to patreon.com/thegoods pod. This week, weekend, I'm dropping an episode with professional wrestler, combat athlete, all-around cool dude, Justin Morales. We talked about Shaquille O'Neal's 1997 horrible flop Steel.
Oh, nice. I had the action figure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck, man, it's...
You clipped it on... he just clipped it on his body, but it was the stupidest action figure, too.
That movie is... Did you see the movie?
No, I've still never seen it.
It's on HBO Max. It's fucking awful. Like,
yeah?
It's short, too, and the whole time I...
Like Veronica bad, or...
Not quite Veronica bad, but it's as bad as it's not even... Veronica was at least like, holy shit, this is so bad, it's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
With this one, it was like, holy shit, it feels like I'm watching a TV movie. It's really strange. Yeah, we went into pretty good detail about that.
Nice.
So, but yeah, anyway, so go to patreon.com/thegoodspod, join the Tower of Power, and of course, the second best way to support this show would be to head to Apple Podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Show the attitude of gratitude. We will see you next time, and go Dodgers. Oh, hello. For today's spooky selection, I'm going to take y'all back to what has to be the most eventful summer in U.S. history, assuming you're into the paranormal like me. It was the summer of 1947, and two events in the skies over the American West would set the tone for a huge subsection of our popular culture for the next 7 decades and counting. That first event happened on June 24th, near Mount Rainier in Washington State. It involved a pilot named Kenneth Arnold. If you're a longtime listener to this show, and this is sounding familiar, it's because we covered this back in March of 2014 on one of my favorite early episodes of the show, episode 27, titled, I Want to Believe. That episode's still available, by the way. Go check it out. It's a good one. That said, in case you don't know the story, in 1947, an Air Force plane crashed in the Cascade Mountains, and the government offered a $5,000 reward to any pilot that could find the wreckage. Pilot Kenneth Arnold goes looking for the crash site, and while flying high above Mount Rainier, he sees 9 silvery, almost boomerang-shaped crafts flying in formation. When he lands and reports this to the paper, he says that the movement of these strange craft was best described as saucers skipping across the water. So, even though these things weren't even round, the term flying saucer is born. Meanwhile, at around the exact same time near Corona, New Mexico, William Brazel, a foreman working on the J.B. Foster Ranch, finds a large debris field of bright wreckage made up of rubber strips, tinfoil, and wooden sticks. Brazel thought nothing of it at the time, but then, on July 6th, he read about Kenneth Arnold and the flying saucers in the newspaper. All of a sudden, Brazel wonders, maybe that's what he saw out on the ranch. The next day, Brazel saw County Sheriff Wilcox and told him that he may have found the crash site of a flying saucer. Wilcox contacts the major at Roswell Army Air Force Base, and together they go out to the crash site where they recovered, and I'm quoting here, patches of tinfoil and rubber. The crash site had all of the elements to indicate that the object was a high-altitude weather balloon. But confusingly, the Army Air Force's public information officer, Walter Haut, issued a press release stating that they had recovered a quote-unquote flying disc on the ranch. The report was immediately picked up by numerous news outlets. The next day, the Army issued a retraction saying that it was just a weather balloon, but the spaceship had already left the station. The government and the media's handling of these two events would launch a million movies and TV shows about extraterrestrials. Sightings of flying saucers and alien craft worldwide would become much more common, as well as many government cover-up conspiracy theories. You know, back when those were fun and not your aunt just ranting about QAnon. I mean, hell, even if Kenneth Arnold was full of shit and the Roswell crash was just a high-altitude weather balloon designed to monitor Soviet nuclear activity, the events of the summer of 1947 led directly to the X-Files, and that alone justifies the corrosion of trust in the government, if you ask me. Shit's overrated anyway. Oh yeah, the song. So, a year before all of this mess, in 1946, Chester and Lester Buchanan had scored a #1 hit with their song, Atomic Power. Keep in mind, World War II had only been over for less than a year at this point, and now the whole planet was dealing with the fact that America was one of the few Western countries left intact, and the only one that had nuclear weapons. Everyone knew it was only a matter of time before the Soviet Union used their own team of captured ex-Nazi scientists to create their atom bomb, so things were pretty intense. And the Buchanan brothers' highly topical country music reflected that anxiety. The next year, needing a follow-up to atomic power, the Buchanan brothers began reading these incredible reports of UFOs out west. Now, most people's reaction to the flying saucers was to contemplate extraterrestrial life or maybe man's significantly decreased role in the universe. But that was most people. Chester and Lester were not most people. They instead saw the invasion of the flying saucers in the summer of 1947 as a warning from an angry God of the coming Judgment Day. So, on July 16th, 1947, just 3 weeks after Kenneth Arnold's report from Washington, and 8 days after news broke of the Roswell incident, the Buchanan brothers walked into RCA Victor Studios in New York City, and they recorded this, our spooky selection for today, When You See Those Flying Saucers.
You better pray to the Lord when you see those flying saucers. It may be the coming of the Judgment Day. It's a sign, there's no doubt, of the trouble that's about. So I say, my friends, you'd better start to pray. They're a terrifying sight as they fly on day and night. It's a warning that we'd better mend our ways. You'd better pray to the Lord when you see those flying saucers. It may be the coming of the Judgment Day. Many people think the saucers might be someone's foolish dream, or maybe they were sent down here from Mars. If you just stop and think, you'd realize just what it means. They're more than atom bombs or falling stars. And though the war may be true, there's unrest and trouble brewing, and those flying saucers may be just a sign that if peace doesn't come, it will be the end of some. So repent today, we're running out of time. When you see a saucer fly like a comet through the sky, you should realize the price you'll have to pay. You'd better pray to the Lord when you see those flying saucers. It may be the coming of the Judgment Day.